I'm Sophie. When I was 12, my parents sent me to a special camp where I learned about acid rain, big oil spills, the ozone hole, mass species extinctions, and toxic waste dumps. I was so excited. I thought I knew the world was messed up, and clearly it's my job to fix it. Oops. About an hour into my post-camp manic chatter, my parents were like, "What have we done?" They didn't realize that I'd been solving problems on my own for a while. Like when, as a latchkey kid who would forget her key, I figured out 3 different ways to break into my own home. By my first year of college at Cornell, I was organizing against apartheid, for human rights, for a living wage for Cornell's own workers. I co-founded a new organization, and after dropping out of Cornell, I drafted the economic justice platform for Ithaca's newest political party. I was still a teen. At 23, I was so profoundly inspired by the possibility of actively undoing racism that it shaped the direction of my life from then on. So when I heard the theme for today's event, which is "We must do," I thought, all right, I can't wait to go tell everybody everything that we must do. But that's not exactly why I'm here. As anyone who's been around an urgent, fact-filled activist knows, there can be a shadow side to taking on the world. I was acting out of genuine caring and conviction, but that was sharing very close quarters with a deep-seated anxiety and disconnection. I experienced firsthand how an underlying fear and isolation can make a mess of the best of ideas. I had lots of brain power, but no idea how to really connect with myself or with others. Raise your hand if you've ever known that something is not quite right, but you just kept going. Well, me too. But fortunately, at one point, my own body stepped in. After I had been anxiously overdoing at work for years, and as my job got bigger, I just tried harder ad nauseum. Literally, I got sick with a fatigue and a dizziness and a nausea that I could not shake. Finally, after about a month, I made it back to work, and I got some better training for my growing job until I realized that I didn't actually want the job they were training me for. I didn't even want my current job. All of a sudden, I wanted a new career, a new lifestyle, maybe a new relationship, maybe a little bit more money. Uh-oh. This started an ongoing feud with a part of me that felt that attending to my inner self or my own happiness was selfish, trivial, and vaguely obscene. But having been stopped from doing very much for a while had shaken something loose. I recommend when you don't know what to do to just try stopping, even for just 5 minutes. I like the image of a tree. It's very much alive, but it's not out there running around like crazy. It's rooted, taking in nutrients, breathing. In my divine discontent, I did try seeing a therapist, but I ended up digging through my literal stuff instead, guiltily skipping community meetings to liberate myself from boxes and boxes of dubious memorabilia, old manifestos, bad photos of myself, and long disappeared nail clippers. And in that process, I had a strange urge to let go of my identity as a social justice activist, the very way that I defined myself. But then who would I be? Or what would set me apart from those people that I found rather disappointing? But I had to lean into trusting my need for a new start, and I let go. It's kind of like picking up a spent dandelion that you thought would bloom for you forever and just blowing the seeds into the wind. And then looking at the bald stalk in your hand and going, now what? Cue emotions. I think one of the reasons why it can be so hard for many of us to slow down or to let go is that it can cause you to notice how you are feeling. Some days I would rather flee the country. But I found that when I am feeling confused, badly procrastinating, binge watching The Office past the point of fun, avoiding people, and generally acting weird, it's usually blocked emotions. And notice it doesn't say act on your emotions or repetitively loop a story about your emotions. Emotions are an experience in your body. They come, they go. So I found ways to unblock, and I started to think of my emotions like bees. You're oddly beautiful and essential to life. I don't need to run away. You'll only hurt me if I freak out and start squashing you. Having made friends with my emotions, I decided to crowd out the constant inner stream of harsh commentary towards myself and the world around me by repeating thoughts that made me feel good. I have all the help I need. I'm willing to experience joy and ease. I am more connected than ever. They all started to come true. It was eerie. And I started to give to myself, even when the scared and judgmental part of me felt, oh yeah, that part rolled her eyes at all my non-toxic nail polish and felt uncomfortable when I spent time playing piano or I spent the day with my niece when I had things to do. Or just felt embarrassed and baffled when I started filling up my whole space with fake hydrangea blossoms. They're part plastic. But somehow those fake hydrangeas were feeding my soul through growing my own flowers and beyond. And I realized that accepting myself or even the world around me was not about giving up, or not about settling or giving up on change. It was about stopping fighting and starting where you are. I never did leave my job as a community organizer. I unglamorously demoted myself. And now I spend more time doing what I love in fewer hours with more camaraderie than I ever thought possible. I seem to have less money than ever, but somehow I have more abundance and adventure, like kayaking in Monterey Bay with otters and seals. I'm still single, if you know anyone, but I have much more closeness. Somehow, after decades of miserable allegiance to sheer force of will, stopping, letting go, being with my emotions, and giving to myself allowed me to connect. And I actually became a happy person from the inside. And it turns out that connecting and giving to myself and allowing happiness, even though I let go of my identity as a social justice activist, has made me a much better collaborator in my community and a more powerful and transformational problem solver than that little girl who picked a lock all on her own by herself. It's easier to look people in the eye, and I ask for help. I'm more honest, which makes me more trustworthy, and more generous. Last summer, I put aside all my to-dos to spend for me it was crazy, 10 hours clearing and cleaning out and organizing my sister and niece's apartment as a surprise while they were away. The day after they came back, my 10-year-old niece had her first sleepover ever. And my sister said, "Now I feel like anything is possible." We face huge problems of our own creation, from militarized local police to war, to mass incarceration of our own citizens, even kids, to compulsive human greed in the face of climate chaos. But I can't help but wonder what might happen if more of us were more willing to just stop and feel, or to let go of the things we think protect us from the other. Nationality, frenetic activity, feeling better than or less than or just different, feeling right or in control, and just connected. It's not easy. I made myself crazy writing hours and hours of material for this short talk, worried that I would get it wrong. I even took a personal day off of work to try to fix it. But I wrote this poem instead. It's called Personal Day. For you, I would scheme and plan, play hooky, create elaborate architecture just to give you space to be you. Cozy, flawed, ponderous you. With the fierce devotion of a scholar, I would witness your journey here through noodle soup and aging, passion and stinging insects. With the patience of Job, I would learn your intricacies like the holy watchworkings inside music or moss. To feed the vital organ of your integrity, to give hope, or to unleash creation in you, I would face an ocean of grief or awkwardness. Traverse coals of ancient hurts, I would wear ridicule like a coat, break bread with fear again and again, breathe the disillusion of identity itself to bolster your heart and give your soul a big sky and the possibility of flight. You, meaning myself. If we can love ourselves this courageously, we can do it for each other, and we really can create a beautiful world. Thank you.